Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second session of our Paid Search Masterclass series. Today, we will be discussing ad copy and how it impacts campaign performance, some optimizations you can make to your creative to combat it, and lastly, we'll touch on some of the new AI features and tools to assist in the creative process. First, a little bit about me. My name is Jenna Danaeff, and I am a paid search specialist here at Carnegie. My archetype is the resilient and inclusive shepherd, and my Carnegie colors are purple, green, and maroon. A fun fact about me is that I have traveled to over 10 countries. I wanted to begin today with some food for thought. 15% of Google searches that are conducted every day are brand new searches. I'm going to pause and let that sink in. 15% of searches are new. That is an amazing amount of new queries appearing every single day. I also came across this interesting statistic from a recent analysis that only 148 keywords account for 15% of all Google searches. So if 15% of searches are new every day, and 15% of all searches only rely on such a small number of keywords, how can you optimize your campaign's creative to reach your target audience? And beyond that, how can you make your ads stand out in the crowd? And that's what we're going to be discussing today. For today's agenda, we will begin by discussing the anatomy of an ad, key metrics for analyzing performance, before we finish with optimizations and strategic ideas for you to implement, as well as a look into some of the new AI tools and features that you can leverage in your own campaigns. So let's begin with the anatomy of a high-performing paid search ad. In the slides ahead, we will discuss several available assets and extensions and how you can incorporate them into your own campaigns. The most common type of ad in paid search campaigns is an RSA, a responsive search ad. This allows advertisers to provide up to 15 headlines and 4 descriptions for Google to dynamically combine and best match the ad copy to each user. Headlines and descriptions are required assets, so advertisers have to include at least 3 headlines and 2 descriptions to be able to run a paid search ad. However, a high-performing ad utilizes all available lines of text, which will provide Google with numerous ad copy combinations to continue to test over time. Over the next few slides, I'm going to briefly discuss the key components of an ad that appeared for this iteration of a Carnegie PPC ad, but if someone else were to receive this ad again, the headlines, descriptions, and extensions would all appear slightly different. And that's because over time, Google learns what combinations perform best. These aren't all of the available extension options. These are the extensions that we use here at Carnegie and that we feel are most applicable to our higher education clients. So let's run through some of the available extensions that we recommend incorporating into your paid search campaigns. These might seem like minor additions and they might be overlooked, but at Carnegie, we include these extensions to maximize presence on the search engine results page and reinforce key value propositions and unique offerings for our clients. So first, we have the display URL. This is a vanity URL, and it's something that the advertiser has control over. So you're able to get really specific with the information you're providing and the actions that you're looking for users to take. The next extension shown here is a structured snippet. For this extension, Google provides a predetermined list to choose from for the header. So in this case, the header is service catalog. And then advertisers can provide up to 10 items that relate to that header. Next, these are callout extensions. These are typically short phrases that promote unique value props or provide other important information to users. At the very bottom of this image are site links. In this version, we are only shown the header of the site link, but we can also provide 2 lines for a description that will be displayed in a more extended format on the search engine results page. Of all these extensions, site links are the only clickable links, so they provide users with additional information as well as additional web pages to click on. This Carnegie PPC ad is utilizing image assets, which is a supplemental extension intended to enhance messaging and provide some visual context for the user. They're also just eye-catching, and they tend to encourage users to click on the ad. But there is a specific list of requirements for the images you can use. For example, images cannot contain text or logos, just given how small these actually appear on the search engine results page. Image assets are especially important to incorporate as Google and the search experience continue to change over time. With the addition of AI overviews, which appear directly on the search engine results page, it's clear that Google is prioritizing more visual elements. We are constantly keeping a pulse on AI and new trends that emerge, so we have started incorporating image assets across all of our campaigns. There is one other category of available assets. These are business information extensions. Once advertiser verification is complete for an account, advertisers can upload a business name and a business logo, which helps users immediately identify with a brand. I mentioned this at the beginning, but just to reiterate, this isn't an exhaustive list of extensions, and there are others available that we don't typically leverage here at Carnegie, like call extensions or promotions, which are usually geared more towards e-commerce businesses. So, to recap, high-performing PPC ads have a strong foundation. They are utilizing all 15 headlines and all 4 descriptions to give Google the most ad copy to dynamically combine and test over time. They are also leveraging all applicable assets and extensions for their line of business, from the display URL to the business logo. So now that we've discussed the anatomy of a high-performing ad, let's move into the metrics that we can use to evaluate performance of ad copy. We'll start with click-through rate. By definition, click-through rate is the number of clicks divided by the number of impressions. You could think about it as how often users who see your ad or assets end up actually clicking on them. Click-through rate as a metric is available at multiple levels, from the campaign all the way down to the keyword level. Now, click-through rate doesn't paint a full picture of a campaign's performance, but it can give us insight into audience behavior and what is or isn't resonating with users. So, a few actionable items, a few ways that we can use click-through rate. Because click-through rate is available at multiple levels, we can use it to gauge which assets are performing well and which can be improved. Along a similar line, we can look at ads with the highest click-through rate and analyze which headlines and descriptions are performing well to see what kind of ad copy users are interacting with the most, and vice versa. We can use a similar tactic to see what isn't resonating with users. Next, we have ad strength, which measures the relevance, quality, and diversity of your ad copy. You could think about it as how well your creative follows Google's best practices. It's essentially a feedback tool, so we're not optimizing towards ad strength as a key performance indicator or a KPI, but it does provide helpful suggestions to improve the relevancy of your ads, alongside a scale that ranges from incomplete to excellent. You can see in the image at the bottom of the slide a breakdown of ad strength, including the rating as well as next steps. These might include, once again, utilizing all headlines and descriptions, crafting varying ad copy, and incorporating keywords into headlines. Next, we have quality score, which is measured on a scale of 1 to 10 at the keyword level and calculated based on a few things: expected click-through rate, plus how relevant your ad is to a user's search query, plus the landing page experience for users. Quality score is based on a comparison with other advertisers whose ads have shown for the exact same keyword over the last 90 days. It's important to note that quality score is also not a KPI and therefore should not be optimized towards, but it can be used as a tool to identify areas for improvement. Ultimately, quality score is important because it affects ad rank, which is one of the factors used in determining where your ad appears on the search engine results page. Some actionable items when looking at quality score: you could pinpoint where to focus your efforts and make optimizations. You can also use Quality Score to identify trends. So for example, if all keywords in an ad group have a low quality score, you might want to compare the themes in your ad group to the text in your ad copy. So now that we've discussed some of the extensions and assets that are available in paid search ads and what metrics to dive into, let's move into some strategic takeaways for you to incorporate in your own campaigns. Okay, so the first takeaway, write compelling ad copy to improve click-through rate. Low click-through rate is an indicator that users aren't resonating with your ads enough to actually click on them. Consumers want personalization. They want results served to them that relate to their search query and can speak specifically to where they are in the funnel. One tip is to highlight unique value propositions in your headlines, but avoid making generic statements. It's not enough to state best quality or top institution. Think about what makes you a top institution, like graduation rate, employment rate, or amount of aid dispersed. If you're struggling to determine what aspects of your institution to highlight, ask yourself this question. If I am your ideal student, why would I choose you over another institution? Lastly, incorporate clear call to actions so users are not only encouraged to click on your ads, but they know what lies at the end of it. Even small changes make a difference. Instead of learn more, you can try learn more about our MBA program. Ad strength, though not a KPI, helps you make a good first impression to your audience. Just to reiterate one last time, utilizing all headlines and descriptions will maximize the number of potential ad combinations that are available to Google. Add as many unique headlines and descriptions as you can, and test headlines of varying length. These suggestions are aimed at improving the relevancy of your ads for your potential audience. And lastly, you can use Quality Score to improve user experience. Understand your target audience, and then craft ad copy that specifically appeals to them. If you're promoting an MBA program, learn what matters to prospective students. It might be cost or time to completion. We've discussed this a few times before, but incorporate highly relevant keywords in your headlines, but not so many that your ads sound robotic, finding a balance between relevance, but also natural language patterns. And finally, low quality score could indicate that there are too many themes in one ad group, so consider restructuring your campaign. Ad groups that contain a tightly themed group of keywords allow you to get really specific in your ad copy and the messaging that you're able to promote. Before we move into our last section, there are a few statistics I want to leave you all with today. First, on average, advertisers see a 6% increase in click-through rate when image assets are incorporated into a campaign. Advertisers that show a business logo and name see an average of 8% more conversions at a similar cost per conversion. And lastly, advertisers who improve ad strength for their responsive search ads from poor to excellent see 12% more conversions on average. All of this is to say that keywords might be the backbone of PPC, but as you can see here, they are only one part of a much bigger picture. The last topic I want to touch on today is how you can start leveraging some of the new AI tools and features to assist in the creative process, from copywriting to image generation. If you're an institution that is completing all of your own campaign setups from start to finish, the copywriting process might feel a little overwhelming, especially coming up with unique headlines, incorporating keywords into your headlines, etc. And that's where conversational experience in Google Ads might be able to help you. This is a new chat-based feature that is technically still in beta, so this definitely isn't perfect. But if used correctly, it can help streamline the setup process and make drafting ad copy much more efficient. This is available for both new campaign setups as well as making optimizations to existing ads. However, this has not been rolled out yet to new ad groups within existing campaigns, so that distinction might seem a bit confusing, But essentially, if you wanted to refresh some ad copy or add additional extensions to existing ads, you are able to. But if you're looking to add in an entirely new ad group to an existing campaign, this feature is not fully available yet. The image at the bottom is a screenshot from in the Google Ads platform that appears when creating a brand new search campaign. If your account is eligible, this appears after choosing your campaign type, setting your bid strategy, and updating your campaign settings like languages and target geos. To use this feature, all you have to do is input the final URL for your ads. You'll be prompted to provide a little more information about your business, but then you click generate and it will do almost everything else for you, from keyword generation to asset creation. The only assets it didn't include for me were display URL and callout extensions, so it seems like there are still some limitations with this feature. I wanted to provide one other example for conversational experience. On the right is a screenshot from, again, in the Google Ads platform, when I clicked into an ad for an existing campaign. I was immediately prompted with a string of messages for ways to leverage this feature. From the first message, where it says I can provide some information about my business and it will help to draft headlines, to some messages that aren't even visible in this screenshot, where it was suggesting image extensions based on images it found on the landing page. So, some tips for using conversational experience. These come directly from Google, and given that this is still in beta and hasn't fully been rolled out yet, I would anticipate that this list will become longer and more thorough as time goes on. But for now, these are the 4 tips Google provides. So when you're chatting with conversational experience, keep your responses very clear and concise. You want to be direct with the task you're looking for it to complete, but at the same time, you can communicate as if it were human. So I like to think of it as if I were chatting with Google support. If you ask a question or make a request and you receive an output that you don't really love, you can ask the question again or even build on your previous question. So I asked it to generate headline options, and once I received those, I asked for more brand, and it was able to understand that I was asking for more branded headlines. And lastly, ensure that your campaigns adhere to Google's policies and that your account is in good standing. This is the next feature. I really quickly wanted to touch on the ad copy suggestions based on ad strength that I briefly touched on earlier. This is a great option if you do not have access to the conversational experience beta in your ads account just yet. So because ad strength is essentially a feedback tool, Google does provide suggestions to help meet their criteria. So for example, in the image on the left, Google is recommending for this particular ad that it can include more unique headlines. You can click on View Ideas, and then various options appear, which you can see in the image on the right. These suggestions are broken down into categories. So the categories in this image are call to action phrases, promotion phrases, and trust phrases. If you are already utilizing all 15 headlines, you will have to remove the ones you're looking to refresh before you're able to add any of these suggestions. But if you're not currently using all 15, you can click on any of these phrases to add them directly to your ad copy. The last feature I want to touch on today is the AI image generation that is now available in eligible accounts. Again, this is a beta, so it's not perfect, but if you're looking for a particular image and you can't quite find what you're looking for, you're able to generate content using Google's AI. This is going to be most easily accessible for Performance Max or Demand Gen campaigns because the option to generate an AI image is available directly in the ads editor, but you can also access this feature in the Shared Assets library. AI image generator can be used to create entirely new images, or they can be used to edit or alter an existing image, like extending the background of a campus shot. A few tips for using it. You can upload reference images as an example of the visual style you are looking to achieve. So if your institution has a specific look, you can try and have Google create images similar to it. Image creation doesn't do well with faces, brands, or opinions, which can sometimes make generated images look like AI. So it likely will require several prompts to create a usable, believable image. For example, the image on the right was created with Google's AI image generator, and at first glance, it looks like this could be believable, but if you look a little closer, every person in the image is walking with the same foot forward, which seems minor, but it's these small nuances that are the difference between a believable image and something that looks like it was made with AI. That is everything I have for you all today. Subscribers of this series do have access to an exclusive offer, and you can get more information on the webinar page to learn more. These are a few resources if you want to learn more about PPC or if you want to learn how you can partner with us here at Carnegie. Thank you all for joining.